Death by lace and tulle, Isabel Beebe said as she waved the nozzle of the steamer. I'm so sorry, Madeline told her, then winced as she studied the front of the wedding gown. Brides-to-be are determined. Isabel lifted up the front layers of the white dress and carefully clipped them to the portable clothesline in the back room of the boutique. With a dress like this, multiple layers of flowing chiffon, she would start on the inside and work her way out. Isabel focused the steam on the wrinkles. An excited bride had wanted to find out if her potential wedding dress was comfortable to sit in. So she'd sat for half an hour while on the phone with a girlfriend. Now the sample had to be steamed back into perfection for the next interested customer. Should I stop them next time? Madeline asked. Isabel shook her head. Would that we could, but no. Brides are fragile and emotional. As long as they're not tossing paint on the dresses or reaching for scissors, let them sit, twirl, and dance away. We are here to serve. She showed Madeline how to hold the chiffon so the steam flowed through evenly, and then explained about the layers and the time to let the dress cool and dry before being put back with the other sample dresses. It helps if you think of each wedding gown as a very delicate princess, Isabel said with a grin, from a family with a lot of inbreeding. At any second, there could be disaster. We're here to keep that from happening. Madeline had only been working at Paper Moon wedding gowns for 3 weeks, but Isabel already liked her. She showed up early for her shift and was endlessly patient with the brides and their mothers. Isabel passed over the steamer. Your turn. She watched until she was sure Madeline knew what she was doing, then returned to the front of the store. She replaced sample shoes, straightened a couple of veils, then gave in to the inevitable and admitted she was stalling. What had to be done had to be done. Putting it off wouldn't change reality. Oh, but how she wanted it to. After sucking in a breath for strength, she went into the small office, grabbed her purse, and stepped into the workroom and smiled at Madeline. I'll be back in an hour. Okay, see you then. Isabel left the shop and walked purposefully to her car. Fool's Gold was small enough that she generally walked everywhere, but her current destination was just far enough to warrant a car. That and the fact that driving meant a faster and cleaner getaway. If things went badly, she didn't want to have to run like a frightened bunny. Not that she could in her 4-inch heels, but still. With a car, there might be a spray of gravel, and she could disappear in a cloud of dust, like in the movies. Things are not going to go badly, she told herself. Things are going to go great. I'm visualizing greatness. She nearly closed her eyes, then remembered she was driving. I'm wearing my tiara of greatness even as I turn. She went left on 8th Street, then right, and before she was ready, she found herself driving into the parking lot of CDS. Cerberus Defense Sector was the new security firm in town. They trained bodyguards and offered classes in self-defense and other manly things. Isabel wasn't clear on the details. She found that she and exercise had a much better relationship if they avoided each other. She parked next to a wicked-looking muscle car from maybe the 1960s, a large black Jeep tragically painted with flames, and a monster Harley. Her Prius looked desperately out of place, not to mention small. Now that she wasn't driving, it was safe for her to close her eyes. She did, and tried to visualize, but her stomach was churning too much for her to do much more than worry about throwing up. This is stupid, she announced, and opened her eyes. I can do it. I can have a reasonable conversation with an old friend. Only Ford Hendrix wasn't an old friend, and the talk was going to be about how, despite her vow to love him forever, the 10 years she'd spent writing him, not to mention the pictures she'd seen, he had no reason to be afraid of her, because she thought that he might be, just a little. She doubted it was anything he would admit. The man had been a SEAL. She knew that, in addition, he'd been part of a special joint task force that had been even more dangerous. She also knew he'd returned to